Hello and welcome everybody. Today we will be taking a look at one of players' favourite heroes, the thundery force of nature, Storm Spirit. First we will take a look at the downside to this hero, because it's better to get the bad news out of the way first and move on to the great news that will make you want to play him. Storm Spirit is a very mana dependent hero that is easily gankable in the early game due in part to having a low range for a ranged hero, as well as having a weak lane control and being extremely hard to play when you are behind. But if we look into the upside of Storm Spirit, you will see that he becomes a true blue one-man wrecking crew. Our blue friend here has the highest mobility of any heroes in the game, high starting HP and armor, relatively short cooldowns, fantastic at split pushing, and certainly the most favourite being that he's highly effective at ganking, as well as the all-important team fight. When picking Storm Spirit, or any hero for that matter, you want to consider which lane you would best serve. In most matches, your most profitable option would be to go mid so that you are able to level as quickly as possible. This is not the case for every match, due to the potential to run into heroes such as Lina, Queen of Pain, Leshrac, etc., which will impede your progress. In these situations, going into the carry position will keep you alive a lot longer. In order to stay alive longer, we need to delve into which items will help us do just that. Your starting items are pretty standard, with a null talisman, 2 iron branches, with 2 pool tangos, or another option is a null talisman and 4 tangos. The main items you want to focus on getting first will be the bottle and your boots of speed, which you will upgrade to power treads. Once you have purchased your treads, you can start preparing to get your major items, Orchid Malevolence and Bloodstone. There are 2 ways to go when deciding which item to get first. If you need to be a little tankier, then the Bloodstone will be the first purchase. If you find that extra silence and damage amplification are more beneficial, then go for the Orchid first. Either way, you will want to get a Bloodstone no matter what. Other items that you may want to consider based on various situations will be Scythe of Vice, Shiva's Guard, Black King Bar and Lincoln Sphere. You will have to judge for yourself which will be more beneficial to your current match. One of the other important things needed to stay alive is your skills. For Storm Spirit we have the Static Remnant, which creates an image of himself that explodes when enemies are near. Second is Electric Vortex, that is a low range ability that pulls enemies to himself and temporarily slows their movement. Our third is the passive Overload, that gains charges when he casts spells and releases them on the next attack, dealing damage and slowing enemies. Finally, we have Storm Spirit's ultimate, Ball Lightning, that can be used at short or long ranges. He can charge across the battlefield until either all his mana is gone or he reaches his target, and damage is based on how far he's travelled. For levelling up, there are a variety of ways to do it, but we'll look at the 3 best ways to go. Our first option on the screen is the recommended build, which allows better jungle farming and laning while having a high killing potential at level 8 to 9 with Electric Vortex. The second option allows for maximising early game farming with the downside of lower gank potential due to not having a lockdown. Lastly, we have a third option that you can use if you have a really good lane and want to get your key items so that you can start ganking earlier. We will be covering combos in a later video, so stay tuned for that. A big question is going to be how to play Storm Spirit in general terms. For Storm Spirit you want to focus on farming, since he is not the greatest laner, and play as defensive as you can, since you are a bit squishy at the start. If you find yourself getting zoned out, you can try to go to the jungle and get some farming done there. But remember, at level 6 you can drop enemy heroes if you are full with mana and combo correctly. Once you have your main items discussed earlier, you will be ready to fight, so remember to keep at least 500 mana and a town portal for emergencies. Keep focusing on getting your major items by farming and only going for kills that are safe, as you don't want to die and waste gold or XP, or teleport to a lane, waste all of your mana and not get the kill. All these things will set you back and slow you down, which doesn't help you or your team. Now that you have your first major item, you can begin rotating as needed, since you will now be able to survive longer and have more killing power. Keep an eye on your minimap so that you can gauge enemy movement, rotate accordingly, and be prepared for anything. When you have the chance, pick up the Aegis of an Immortal, as Storm Spirit is one of the best heroes to carry it. As always, when going into fight, kill the easiest targets first, so that you don't waste too much mana on trying to take someone out that can't be taken down and find yourself without an escape. Lastly, we look at the heroes you don't want to meet in the battlefield, since they have a huge annoyance to you and your hero. The biggest heroes you don't want to see are Anti-Mage and Silencer, since they are very nasty with lockdowns, silencers, debuff abilities, and Anti-Mage's mana burn. Any strong mid laners that don't allow you to farm are also pretty nasty. When you find yourself against these heroes, you will need to find items that work in your favour, but also against them. Items like Yule's Scepter of Divinity, or any of the other items covered earlier.